This is a bit different than what I had in mind months ago when I was first asked to prepare a speech for the Alumni Awards. But echoing the words of Pope Francis, like the disciples in the Gospel, we were caught off guard by an unexpected, turbulent storm. But in the darkness, we have realized that we are on the same boat, all of us fragile and disoriented, but at the same time important and needed. I'm Nguyen, and I serve as the state senator from the 34th Legislative District. I'm the first person of color to represent the 34th and the first Vietnamese American senator in Washington State. I had the distinct privilege of graduating from Sand University in 2006. And first, I want to send my best wishes to everyone out there. I hope you all are staying safe, staying home, so that we can get through this crisis as fast as possible. I am truly humbled by the honor of being the alumnus of the year, because it was my time at Sand University that helped shape me into who I am today. The relationships, the experiences, and the Jesuit values of service are deeply ingrained in my work. What's interesting is that I've only been involved in politics for less than 2 years, but I got involved because we needed leaders who represented the values and reflected the diversity of the people in this great state. People willing to fight for working families and communities that have been on the margins for much too long, especially our refugee and immigrant communities who are inherently resilient and tenacious people. And using my family as just one example, my father fought with the U.S. Navy and was evacuated while Saigon fell, and it happened so fast that my mother and sister weren't able to join him. For 3 years, they didn't know if he was alive or dead. But eventually, he was able to get messages back home, letting them know he had made it to Seattle. And like thousands of other families, my mother and about 20 other family members got on a tiny boat and in the middle of the night fled out into the open ocean. You know, I saw a quote that encapsulated what they must have felt during that time, and it goes, "No one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one puts their children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land." And we were fortunate that Washington had leaders who welcomed immigrants and settled in White Center. And this story might sound familiar to people even today. The names, location, and dates might be a little different, but this is the same story for thousands of our families who made great sacrifices and a tough journey to get here. And knowing the sacrifices that my mother and everyone else made on my behalf is why I am so passionate about service to others. Her experience during the war, growing up in poverty, struggling here in the United States, especially after my father was in a car accident, shaped our values. And too often, when we don't have examples of success within our own communities, we don't believe it is possible for us to succeed. And it wasn't until my time at Sand University that I realized that I could be part of that change we desperately needed to see. And it was and still is so rare to see Asians in leadership, let alone Vietnamese people, that even my own mother was worried about me choosing such a risky path when I wanted to pursue public service. And she was understandably nervous because when I look back at how I grew up, I started noticing trends. There were many times that people like us were overlooked. You know, I was a janitor growing up in high school. We relied on social services. And even while I was student body president at Sand University, I'd wash dishes at night to help pay for tuition. Not many people told us that we would amount to much. And sometimes, you know, all you need is an opportunity and a little bit of hope. When I ran for office, I was up against 11 other candidates. You know, they raised more money, they had all the endorsements, yet we still won in a race where we weren't even supposed to compete. And after the election, I was told we wouldn't know what we're doing. We'd struggle because this isn't our place. We didn't belong here. But we quickly proved them wrong. But the point is, we are more powerful than even we could imagine. Our experiences shaped our values. And now that we're at the table with the power to make laws, it is overwhelmingly clear that not only do we belong here, we should have been here the entire time. And we are certainly experiencing one of the toughest times, at least in my lifetime, but I do see a glimmer of hope. because I'm seeing more people like us who are now part of the process, working to better our community. Our lives are woven together, and we are sustained by one another. And in this time of darkness, we are all called upon to serve. I am incredibly thankful for this award, but mainly because I hope it inspires others to feel called to service as well. Thank you very much to SETA University for this tremendous honor. And in the famous words of St. Ignatius, go forth and set the world on fire. I hope to see you all very soon.